Good afternoon, everyone. Let's talk about estrogen and progesterone. So especially gentlemen, please pay attention because this is very important to understand your wife, your sister, your daughter, even your mom or your co-workers. So the cycle, everybody knows this, has several phases. There is a menstruation, and then about 14 days later, if she has a typical 28-day cycle, ovulation occurs. So we can divide the cycle into phases: before ovulation, during ovulation, and the after ovulation until the next period. So we can say the cycle can be described as before and after ovulation and before and after menstruation. So there are many changes because of these phases, and these two hormones are so important, estrogen and progesterone. So this influence both our mind and body. So during menstruation, hormone levels are at their lowest. So why many women feel down, heavy, unmotivated, and do not want to work and fatigue. But after menstruation, estrogen rises steadily, reaching its peak around ovulation, when the body is preparing for a possible pregnancy. So at this stage, women often feel more energetic, confident, and even appear more attractive. This is an evolutionary mechanism to draw a partner. So a partner, your husband, or so this is so why it's more attractive at that time. And when estrogen peaks at ovulation, the body prepares for implantation. The uterine lining thickens and the blood supply increases. Here, progesterone comes in. So after ovulation, the leftover ovarian tissue becomes the corpus luteum, which secretes the progesterone. So progesterone levels stay high from ovulation until just before the next period. So problem is that in this luteal phase, when progesterone is dominant, many women experience difficulty. This is PMS, premenstrual syndrome, or PMDD, more emotional part. Progesterone can cause mood changes, irritability, anxiety, insomnia, and even belly bloating. Feels discomfort. Eventually, if a pregnancy does not occur, the body realizes it does not need a thickened uterine lining and is shed as menstrual blood. This cycle then repeats itself. But not everyone experiences this the same way because of genetic differences in metabolism, so such as variations in the CYP enzymes. So some women are more sensitive to estrogen, some women are more sensitive to progesterone. This explains why some women have severe cramps, others develop breast conditions, and others experience mood swings or gynecological problems. So we see the estrogen and progesterone. The estrogen, mainly estradiol, E2, drives from cholesterol. Estrogen promotes more ladylike breast development, shapes more woman's body shape, increase blood flow to the uterine lining. Even in the brain, it has a stimulating effects like increasing serotonin and boosting mood and confidence, suppressing appetite, which is good and sometimes good, sometimes bad, and most women want this, and suppressing the appetite and raising energy. But opposite, progesterone, this is not a male hormone, still female hormone, also drives from cholesterol, but with different functions. So it moderates the strong effects of estrogen. For example, estrogen stimulates like a breast cell growth, while progesterone restrains it and instead prepares the breast for milk production by enlarging the nipples. So it also calms the system, raises the body temperature, increases the metabolism, and increases the appetite, and creates a sense of stability. So body's way of preparing for motherhood. So progesterone is more connected to becoming the preparing for motherhood. So earlier, with the first menstruation, estrogen secretion begins earlier while progesterone increases more slowly since pregnancy is not yet necessary when they started only like teenagers. And thus in the teenage years and the early 20s, estrogen is the dominant. But in the childbearing years, both estrogen and progesterone rise to their peaks during ovulation and pregnancy preparation. And the 30s, 40s, 50s, both hormones, estrogen and progesterone, declines as a woman moves towards menopause. Menopause usually occurs around age 49 to 50. At this time, estrogen drops, but progesterone declines much more sharply. So since the body no longer needs to prepare for pregnancy, right? So as a result, in the years right after menopause, women can actually experience relative estrogen dominance because progesterone has dropped so steeply. So teenagers and early ages and in the years just after menopause, progesterone is relatively low. So now we know the estrogen character, progesterone characters, right? So think about these two characters and the seasons, then you can understand why she's doing that, why her emotions like that. We can understand it better, even ourselves too. So throughout a woman's life, the balance between estrogen, progesterone shapes not only her fertility, but also her physical and emotional well-being. And I like to share more actually testosterone as well, and also cortisol hormone relationship as well. I will talk about this next time. Have a good evening.